off air. There we are. Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's Ellechat on 6 effective ways to gain new clients without an audience or with a really small audience. I'm so glad that all of you are here, but before I dive into all of this helpful content, I want to make sure that you can see me and hear me okay. So if you could just let me know in the comments, there's about a 30-second lag because of Google Hangouts. Let me know. It's fun to see all of you tuning in today. We have a smaller group, which is great. I'm excited to share all of my client strategies with you. Not all, but six helpful ones. And it's fun to see what kind of businesses you have. You can hear me? Awesome. Thank you, Courtney Deb Yuritsa, I think is how I say it. Hope I said that right. Suzanne, awesome. So glad to see all of you tuning in. A lot of you, this is your first time here, which is awesome. So glad that you can tune in. The replays are helpful, but there's nothing like tuning in live. And I love the Q&A at the end where I can answer your questions, your specific questions. So I'm so glad that you all are tuning in today. Awesome. Glad you can hear me. All right, so these past few weeks in particular, actually months, I've been working on a new course called the Freelance Academy. And unlike my Adobe Illustrator class, which is more design focused, I wanted to come out with a signature course that was focused on how to gain clients and how to handle the business side of running a creative freelance business. Because I don't know about you, but I knew how to design when I started Ellen Company. I had no clue how to find clients, how to take the reins in a project. I felt like my clients were running the show. I had no idea what to include in contracts, no idea how to price my services. Gosh, I charged $100 for my first branding project. Brand, collateral, and website, which is embarrassing. So I had no idea how to do any of that. So I wanted to start this course. And in it, I focus a lot on gaining clients. And I feel like there's a big question out there around gaining clients. And it is, do you have to have a huge audience in order to book clients? The short answer to this question is no. Although it is really helpful for you to build an audience first, even if you're a product-based business especially, it's really helpful to have an audience because you have more people who know about your work, who might be interested in your services. But good news is you don't have to have a huge audience, and I have 6 ways today to share with you about how you can reach people and get them to book your services regardless. And so I'm really excited to dive into that. A few things before I dive in. You all, it looks like you've found the comment section. Feel free to join in with comments as we go along. I pop that window open from time to time and love seeing that you all are chatting, especially with each other. That makes me happy. There's also a Q&A section. It looks like 11 of you have found that already, which is great. One thing that I love about these Elechats is I leave about 15-20 minutes at the end to answer your questions. And you can ask the questions there, but you can also vote on the questions. They should be right below this window right here. You can also vote on them. So if you see a question that you really want answered, go ahead and give it a vote up. At the end, I'm going to go from the most amount of votes to the least amount of votes and try to answer as many questions as possible. Another really awesome feature for those of you who are watching the replay, if you just want to go ahead and skip to one of those questions, you can click play and it'll jump in the video to that one question and answer it, which I think is really cool. I don't have a poll for you today, but the question section and the comments, we should be good to go. All right, so last week, if I get my time right, I've just been digging into this course launch. It's been a lot of work. But last week, I think on the blog, I shared with you all one of these ways. So if you haven't seen it, it's no big deal. You're not out of luck. I'm about to go into it right now. So go ahead and grab a piece of paper and a pencil because I'm going to be throwing things at you one by one. All right, so the first one that I talked about on the blog is generating leads, client leads from social media. This is something that I continue to do again and again. I've seen others do it. I've done it for product launches, but it will definitely work for clients as well. Collecting emails from social media. So it goes something like this. And now I know I said you don't have to have an audience for this to work, but I can guarantee you that you have at least 100 people following you on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You already have sort of an audience. Even if it's made up of family and friends or friends of friends, you already have an audience there in front of you. So you can use this strategy to build clients. And it is to generate leads. So it looks a little something like this. You came out with a new service, you came out with new packages, and you go on social media and organically, not just flat out say, I have this new package, I'm looking for interest. You want to organically talk about your excitement over this package, who it's going to help, and ask people if they're interested in learning more to leave their email address in the comments. Or there's another way around this that I'll talk about in just a second. Maybe they aren't interested themselves, but they might know of someone who might be interested. And so you can tell your friends, family, other followers to tag someone who might be interested in your services. So you're looking for tags and you're looking for email addresses. You can also, some people don't feel comfortable leaving their email address in the comments, and that's okay. You can create a form, whether it's through ConvertKit or MailChimp. Maybe it's a page on your website with an opt-in, and you can link to that page on your social media account, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. I usually do this strategy with Instagram. I've seen success from it. Post that URL of the form in your Instagram profile and say, if you're interested, maybe instead of leaving the email address in the comments, say, if you're interested, go to that URL and put in your email address. So that's step one of this first effective way to gain new clients, and in this case, leads for clients. Then once you have their email address, you want to send them an email. You want to start building trust with them. That's the key to booking any kind of clients, selling any products, profiting in your business, is to build trust with your audience. And it looks like I'm stuck on the screen. If it's still moving, it's frozen on my end. But if it's still working for you, let me know in the comments so I know. And I'll check back in just a second. But it doesn't stop with just collecting those emails. Now you need to build trust and nurture those leads. So you will write, maybe it's one email, maybe it's a couple emails. You can come up with a sequence to demonstrate your expertise. So for me with design, it might be, it's not moving on your end either. Okay, frozen. Okay, sweet. I don't know how, what that is. Let me turn my camera off and turn it back on. Woohoo, it's working on my end. Hopefully it's working on your end. Pick of me and nothing more. Okay. I'll wait just a second to make sure. There's, like I said, a little bit of a lag, but let me know if you can still hear me. Back, woohoo! Okay, always some kind of technical difficulty. Awesome. One of just something from it being live. Okay, awesome. Thank you guys. Glad that I'm back. I wondered if I was the only one. I didn't want to keep going if I was just stuck on the screen. Okay. So step one was to collect those email addresses. Step two is to nurture it and build trust. So for me as a designer, I might send a couple emails, not showing slides this time. Sorry, Celeste. But hopefully you'll still walk away with a lot of great content. Awesome, working, sweet. So now you want to build trust with your audience. They aren't going to book you. They're not going to spend money on your services unless they trust you. And so you want to demonstrate your expertise in this. You want it to feel organic. So maybe you send an email out to them saying, thank you for your interest in my services, and you start to share your expertise. So for me, it would be why you need a branded website, a beautiful branded website. I might talk about first impressions. I might talk about, I want to demonstrate my skill. I want to build trust with them. So this takes a little bit of clever marketing, but really it's just sharing what you know and building trust with them. And then after a while, and I shared this on the blog, so it might be helpful for you to go back and look at examples. I included scripts. Then you try to pitch your services. So You might do the problem, agitation, solution approach, which is present a problem, but don't answer the problem. Maybe send one email and say, here's your problem. People are landing on your website, but then they aren't buying or they aren't booking your services. And then step 2 is to agitate that problem. So it's like you have something in your eye. At first, it's itching, and Brian Harris does this analogy, and I love it. So the problem is you have something in your eye. Agitation is it's really itching, and you want to agitate it to the point that they have to get up and find a solution, which would be to wash it out of their eye, look in the mirror, and try to get it out. But that's the agitation stage. So you say, not only are people landing on your website and not buying or booking your services, but no one's following along with you on social media. No one seems to be interested. So you agitate that problem even more. And then in that last email, you might provide a solution, your packages. Here's what you need. And you present it that way. So there's a couple of different options for that I share on the blog. You can always go back to and see that later. But the purpose of this is just to generate leads. See who might be interested in your services. I've done this for e-courses with just asking people if they're interested to leave their email address in the comments. And then I start a new list and try to build trust and tell them more about my product and everything else. Or right from the get-go, you might have someone who's interested and bam, there you have a new client, which is great. So that's number 1. Number 2, and this is really effective, and I have people do this with me all the time, reach out to industry peers. Are there people in your industry who are doing well, who might already be booked out for clients and might be willing to refer any inquiries to you? I know for me, I book out a year in advance, getting ready to try to book for 2017 for clients. So for me, I'm turning down people regularly, and instead of just saying no, I can't work with you, I like to point people to other designers who might have a similar aesthetic to me, who might offer similar things like a Squarespace website design or something along those lines. And so I created just a referral list, and I like to keep track of designers, and I ask them to email me and let me know what packages they offer, how much they charge, so that when someone asks me for something like just a logo, I don't send them to somebody who doesn't do just logos. So I would recommend reaching out to people in your industry who offer similar services and asking them to send you referrals. It might seem really weird at first. I would always recommend following along with them on social media, replying to their newsletters, start to build a relationship with them so they know who you are when you reach out to them. Hopefully you're already doing that already, but networking can be a really powerful tool. When you do reach out to them, remind them of how you may have connected. Definitely tell them exactly what you do. Link to your services, so your service package, whether it is on your website or in a PDF. Let them know how much you charge, which might seem weird sending that to somebody else in the industry. I've never had a problem with it. I've only seen benefits from this. So reach out to somebody else in your industry and ask them if they would be willing to refer inquiries to you. The worst they can say is no, and that's okay. But usually when people reach out to me, I add them to the list. And Suzanne, I just saw that she chimed in and said she finds it difficult to find others in her industry locally and in her country, which is Denmark. Most people I follow are international. So that also depends on location. For me, with design, I can work with people anywhere in the world, and I have. For you, with location-based businesses, it might be different. I know in the States, there's something called Tuesdays Together, run by the Rising Tide Society, where people meet up. And so it might be worth your while, Suzanne, to go to meetups and get to know people and try to get in with people that way. But if not, I have 4 more ways for you to effectively gain new clients. So the first, like I said, was generating leads from social media, posting about your services on social media and your service packages, and collecting emails, engaging interest that way. Number 2 was to reach out to industry peers and link attached to your portfolio too. That's something that I didn't say. not only do you want to attach something about your services and your pricing, but you also want to link to your portfolio so they can see your work and know whether or not you would be a good fit for the person they're referring you to. So I found that to be extremely helpful. Number 3, create or join a Facebook group with people in your industry. So this kind of goes along with the networking theme that I talked about just a minute ago. But find a Facebook group of others in your industry and stay active in the group. Post projects that won't work for you so you can help other people out. You shouldn't be accepting every single project that comes your way. And I'll talk more about this in the coming weeks to my mailing list if you're on it. That's one hang up that so many new freelancers do and seasoned freelancers do. You're so desperate for new work. You love what you're doing. You really want to create a business off of it. And so you just take on every single project that comes your way. And you shouldn't be doing that. You should know your ideal client. You should be specializing. It's how you're going to streamline your process. It's how you're going to bring clients in the door. It's how you're going to build a sustainable freelance business if you have a specific type of client that you're gearing your services to. So if you have people come to me and ask me just for a logo or just for a website, and I have to turn them down because that's not the package that I offer, and that's okay. They're thankful when I turn them down and have somebody to refer them to. So post projects that won't work for you on that Facebook group, and you might find other people posting projects on that Facebook group or inquiries that won't work for them, and you want to act quickly on those new postings and get in contact with them and try to find clients that way as well. So it's another alternative to the emails, emailing people, although I think that one-on-one contact is invaluable if you get on their referral list. But number 3 is to participate in that Facebook group, stay active, and it goes both ways. You post inquiries that won't work for you. Don't give away the inquiries information. I wouldn't even say their name. I would just say what they're looking for, and if someone's interested in that project, to send you an email or a message, and then you might share. Then you could share that person's information. You get it. I wouldn't just say this person's first and last name and this is all their contact information in a Facebook group. That goes against privacy. You guys know that. Okay. So number 1, generate leads from social media. Number 2, reach out to industry peers. Number 3, create or join a Facebook group to share inquiries. And number 4, and this one was huge for me when I first started out, and it's something that I don't see a lot of people doing, which is a shame, is blogging your work. So like I said, you don't have to have a huge following. There's a couple ways around this, but you should be blogging because like I said, and it's really funny because people reach out to me all the time and they say, how did you grow your audience so quickly? Or how did you build a waiting list of over 250 prospective clients? And they never like my answer because my answer every time, one of my big answers, there's a few things that went into it. One of my biggest answers is blogging. And for some people, that's a really scary thought. I was not a big writer. I did not enjoy writing, but blogging has gone so far for me. So when I didn't have an audience, even in the beginning, or a very, very small audience, I was still blogging my work. And not just, here's the project and here are the pretty after photos. I blogged the project from start to finish. So I said, and this might be different for you depending on what your field is, but you could even do this for writing. You could find creative ways around it. You guys are creative entrepreneurs. I have faith in you. For me, since it was design work, at the top of the post, I would outline the problem. This client came to me because they wanted a brand that attracted this kind of audience, and their current brand wasn't doing that because of X, Y, and Z. And so I outlined their ideal clients. I showed the inspiration board and I walked them through each and every step of the process, why I was making the decisions I was making, why I chose that color palette, why one logo concept worked better than another logo concept, why we had to refine that logo. And you might be thinking, are people really interested in all of those details? And yes, the answer is yes. Potential clients want to see that you know what you're doing. So if you explain, if you don't just show the final product, you show the whole process, not only are you building trust with them because you're showing your expertise, and that as a designer, I'm not just throwing things on the screen or making things look pretty. I have a reason behind each and every design decision that I make. So it shows that I know what I'm doing and builds trust that way. But it also shows them my process. So they see why I don't just offer a logo, why I might offer a brand, collateral items, and a website so that everything looks cohesive. So they become familiar with my process. So I do it from start to finish. I actually link to everything and I need to update it. I haven't shared one of these posts in a while. But I link to it on my portfolio page so that people aren't just seeing the final result, they're seeing the story of the project from start to finish. And then it doesn't stop there. Pinterest is a huge tool for marketing yourself. And the great thing about Pinterest is that a pin can go viral like that. You don't even have to have a huge audience. So I would pin every image, even from the process, even my sketches, inspiration board, all of that. I would pin it to Pinterest. And it may not have happened right away, but over time, things would get repinned. People would start coming back to that post. They would pin it themselves. And one of my biggest clients, what Olivia did with the biggest audience out of anybody I've worked with, found me because of a simple pin on Pinterest. She followed the Bloom logo that I did back to the Ellen Company site, and she didn't just land on a pretty brand, she landed on the story, that portfolio post on the blog, and she got to see the project from start to finish and read about my process, and then contacted me and booked my services. So share about it. Not only share it on Pinterest, share it on all of your other social media outlets. I did for a while on Facebook, on my Facebook page. I created an album for my design work, and I shared each and every part of the process, and I linked to the blog post and if they wanted to go back there and see more. And I definitely linked to my service page at the end of each one. But it's a great way to build trust, which I can't emphasize enough. Demonstrate your expertise, share your process with people, but blogging your work is very, very important. So do it. Number 5. So number 4 was blog your work. Number 5 is to go above and beyond for your current clients. Do you have current clients that you're working with right now? Social media has been big, like Pinterest has helped me gain clients, but not necessarily right away. I still have to build trust with them through the blog, and they usually follow along for a while before they reach out to me. But going above and beyond for my current clients goes a long way. Great testimonials are awesome for your services page, but also if somebody has a really great experience with you, they're going to want to share that experience with their friends. And chances are, their friends have a lot in common with them, whether they're in the same industry, they have the same needs, they're going to recommend you to them. And Mark Zuckerberg has an awesome quote that says, oh man, I don't remember it verbatim, but there's nothing like a recommendation from a trusted friend. It goes along the lines of that. So you trust, if my best friend tells me to check out some resource, I'm going to be a lot quicker to look at that resource. She's actually my assistant too. Her name is Jenny. Jenny, if you're watching today, you're awesome. Sent me a song that she thought I would like, and I listened to it right away because I trusted her and she knows me well. Same goes for somebody recommending your services if you had a really great experience. I know for my clients too, they usually end up blogging about the experience and the process. So those who are following along with them hear about me that way. So go above and beyond for them. Don't go above and beyond to the point where you are spending way too many hours and you're getting paid pennies, but do really, really good work. Make sure your communication is on point. And yeah, respond to them quickly. Depending on what you're doing, it's going to look different, but make sure the client process is excellent so that you get really great reviews from your clients. Don't overlook testimonials from great clients. And I think too, going along with that, people are always looking for proof. So you can say you know what you're talking about, but you need to prove it. And a lot of times that proof comes through the actual work that you've done and the clients you've worked with. So having those testimonials on your services page, even if you don't get a client from word of mouth, a client that you've already had telling a friend, even just having testimonials on your services page from people who've worked with you, provide that proof and start building trust with potential clients. We're already on number 6, but this is great because it leaves a lot of time for questions. So last one. This one, just like blogging may not have been your favorite answer, this one might catch you by surprise too. This one is especially great for business to businesses. A lot of businesses in there. So for those like me who work with other businesses, this is a really great tool. Using your LinkedIn account. I know, who would have thought? LinkedIn. I didn't even get on it or start using it until last year. I didn't even know what to do, or I didn't know my way around. But building connections on LinkedIn is awesome, especially because people are looking, are hoping to make connections. It's work-based. So it's not like Facebook where people are scrolling through photos of their friends and then bam, you're trying to promote your services. People kind of expect it on LinkedIn. It's a professional network. And for business to businesses, it's great for finding your ideal clients. For a long time, little secret here, I went through, and actually Jake went through, my husband who helps me with my business part-time. He went through on my account and tried to find other female entrepreneurs, the people in my ideal client base. And he went through and just started connecting with them, just friending them. And then on my LinkedIn account, I would share my portfolio work and my projects. So go ahead and do that. Spend some time on LinkedIn. Maybe it's once a week. And you go through and you try to find people in your ideal audience. If they are on LinkedIn, it's not going to be worth your while if maybe you're trying to appeal to stay-at-home moms or something along those lines. But if your ideal clients could be on LinkedIn, spend the time hunting them down. You can search by profession. Someone on here, I forget who it is, and I can't scroll the comments right now. I think it was Deb, said that she worked with interior designers. You can look that up on LinkedIn and start connecting with them. You might send them a message. I had a financial planner reach out to me on my LinkedIn account, actually in the Charlotte area, right down the road from me, and told me about his services, and I connected with him because he reached out to me on LinkedIn. So don't underestimate LinkedIn. I know it's probably not what you wanted to hear, but it's a really helpful tool. Deb said she does it all the time. Awesome. So you're already got this one down pat. That's awesome. All right, so I'm going to run through those again, and then I have a really special offer for you guys. So you don't want to miss this. 1, generate leads from social media. Go back to that blog post and definitely read it and give this a shot. It's generating leads for clients. You're still going to have to build that trust there and come up with an email sequence. But this is a great way to start building your list too of people who are in your ideal audience. So from social media, post about your services, collect emails, gauge interest. Make sure that when you're posting organically and it's not a sales pitch. And ask people to, if they're not interested, tag someone who might be interested. Number 2, reach out to industry peers. Send them an email with a link to your portfolio and your services page, and ask that if they're booked or if something might be out of their scope of work, that they might send client inquiries to you. 3, join a Facebook group for the same purpose of people in your industry, and share projects that won't work for you and act quickly on new postings for projects that won't work for other people but might work for you. 4, blog your work, and not just pretty pictures of your work. Share your process from start to finish. to demonstrate your expertise, and then share that blog post on social media, especially on Pinterest. Go above and beyond for your current clients. Ask them to share. That's something I didn't mention before too. Ask them to share to others who might be interested about your services. You would be surprised what people will do if you simply ask them. And number 6, and dare I say it, actually use your LinkedIn accounts. Share your portfolio on your page. Just start building connections there. It can really go a long way. Link to the blog post that I'm referring to. Let me go grab that for you. Happy to do that. Sorry, bear with me 1 second, guys. Actually, the second blog post on my page. Here you go. It's the last. I hope that's helpful for you. Yuritsa said she's so bad about LinkedIn, needs to step up her game. I'm totally there. I was the same way. But it is, like Taylor said, it is an awesome tool. I actually, once I started using LinkedIn, got 2 job offers in 1 week in the first week. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm not looking for a job, but thank you so much for reaching out to me. So just proof it's effective. It works. So like I said, these are strategies that you can use whether or not you have any audience if you're just starting out, or maybe you have a smaller audience and you're having trouble getting clients. This is kind of just the tip of the iceberg though, because we didn't get to talk about ideal clients or specializing. I did talk about a terrible mistake that people make of trying to offer any and everything or taking on every single client. How do you specialize? How do you differentiate yourself from other people? Because that's huge, especially among competition. And there are more and more people coming into creative businesses. How do you price your packages? How do you know how much to charge? How do you know what services to offer? How do you know what to have in your client contract? How do you take the reins on projects and find clients who value your work? I know for a lot of time, many times, my clients ran the show, and I ended up going above and beyond for them and working for pennies because I did so many revisions, and it was just terrible. So that's a problem. So really all of these things are difficult and learning curves. For me, I had to learn on my own. My business was failing. It was either give up and go back to that terrible 9-to-5 job that I hated, working on projects that were boring and just designing sleazy sidebar ads for a tech startup company, which was terrible. Or I could try to figure things out on my own. And so I spent months and months and months researching strategies, learning by trial and error, falling flat on my face, and have now, 16 months later, been able to grow my client list, or my waiting list rather, to 250 prospective clients, been able to raise my service prices by 600%, and I've built a 6-figure business in that period of time. It's possible. And I remember I wanted nothing more at that point when I was failing miserably than to just have a blueprint laid out for me for start to finish. What do I need to do first? What do I need to do second? What do I need to do third? But instead I had to kind of piece things together because I found out, especially in the freelance industry, people are nervous about sharing their secrets. They tend to hoard them to themselves because they fear that other people are going to poach their clients. And so I made up my mind that as I was figuring things out, I would use my blog and now Ellechat to share everything that I've learned so that other people can benefit from it too. But even then, through blog posts and Ellechat, I can't go into full detail from start to finish about every step of the process. And so I created the Freelance Academy. The Freelance Academy is a 3-month training program for freelancers who want to run a successful freelance business on their own terms. So this is for designers, photographers, copywriters, anyone in a creative service-based business who is having trouble gaining clients. You might be really awesome, and many of you are, at your trade. So for me, I knew how to design. I had been to design school. I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do. I had no idea how to build a business off of it. I didn't know how to market my business. I didn't know how to bring in clients. I didn't know how to bring in a steady stream of clients and book clients out far in advance. And I told you all these struggles a second ago. And so for Freelance Academy, it's simply a blueprint, and it walks you through step by step. And actually, it doesn't launch for another 2 weeks, but I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek, and I'm going to give you a special offer too. So let me share my screen with you. It's a little nerve-wracking. I've been working on this for so long. This is a landing page, and it's not totally done yet, but this is for Freelance Academy. This is the timeline of events. It's 6 modules that are dripped content so that you can actually act on the modules. I give you tons of actionable tips and strategies and even challenges so that you can keep up with it. And then some Q&A sessions dropped in here that are live sessions so I can answer your questions. And here's a look at the modules. Number 1, we're going to talk about specializing, how to discover your niche, develop a unique point of view that's going to attract the right clients. So we're going to find your ideal clients, and I have some awesome strategies for how to do exactly that and how to find out what they want and how much they're willing to pay. So I'm really, really excited about this one. 2, finding the right clients. We talked about finding clients in general today, but finding the right clients. So capturing clients through your blog, mailing list, social media accounts, website. I'm going to give you strategies for how to do all of the above. Number 3 is how to create your service packages and determine your prices. Pricing is so hard. That's one thing that I really, really struggled with and have gotten better at over time. So I'm going to share that with you. Number 4 is project management. So now that you have you found the right clients, you've created your service packages, people are booking, what does your workflow look like? How can you be really efficient with your workflow? What steps do you need? What steps do you not need? And how in the world do you juggle multiple client projects at once? I have answers for you. Number 4, module 4 of the course. 5, client communication. How do you set boundaries, manage expectations, put safeguards in place so that the client process runs smoothly and you don't get walked all over or end up providing things that you didn't agree to in the first place. And number 6, and these were huge ones for me, legal and finance. How do you protect your business and put a system in place for keeping up with business finances? And because I'm no expert in this area, although I've learned a lot over the last 3 years, I'm bringing in the help of an attorney and an accountant so they can help us with this. So I'm really excited about this, you guys. So that's a sneak peek of the course. I'm going to share all of it with you right now, but I'll be sharing more. Oh, hopefully now you guys see it. I saw that some of you had a blank screen. So because this is a smaller group today, I am going to give you guys a special offer in First Access. Yuritsa says, is it a self-paced program or lessons released at specific intervals? I release the lessons at 2-week intervals. And then it's 3 months, 2 lessons each month, so 2-week intervals. And then there's a Q&A webinar every month too. So for you all, since you joined in today, and this is only for 24 hours, but I'm giving you 25% off of the course. So in all, not only is it these modules, I also give you scripts, a complete resource library, tech trainings on Asana, Trello, QuickBooks, all the programs that you'll need to get started. So the course is $697, but you all are getting close to $200 off with 25% off. I'm going to drop the link in for the regular payment in full right here. And I also, for those of you, because I know that's quite a chunk all at once, I also have a payment plan, a 3-month payment plan. And so here's the link to that right here, and you can check it out. I'll be releasing more details about this in the coming weeks, like I said, but this is the only time you'll be able to get this discount on the course, and I won't be offering more than that throughout the launch sequence that starts next week. So thought you guys might be interested in that since you're interested in learning how to gain clients. If you have any questions, please shoot me an email. I'm happy to answer them for you. But be sure you check those out for 25% off the newest course. All right, we ready to answer some questions? If you have questions, feel free to go ahead and start adding them below this window right here, and I'll get started. So Debbie asks, what is the very first step when you've just started your business in getting the first few people in the door? So hopefully you learned some helpful tips today with those 6 different effective ways to gain clients. I think one thing that's really helpful, Debbie, and a way to think about it, a lot of people think when they first start, if they have a website and they post things on the website, they expect people to come. If I build it, people will come, and that couldn't be further from the truth. You have to go out and reach people. And Hannah, it looks like you're getting a 404 page. Let me try that again. Sorry about that, y'all. So this is for the 25% off. Thanks for letting me know, Hannah. That one should work. And let's go back. All right. Thanks, guys. The first one was for the payment plan. The second one is for it in full. Okay, awesome. So sorry about that. So like I was saying, a common misconception is that if you build it, people will come. You need to go out to them. So all 6 of these effective strategies involve going out and finding people. So getting the first few people in the door, also content marketing. So sharing your posts on social media, building your list, which I'll talk about in a second because I know another question is about that or has to deal with that. But the very first step is going out and reaching people through content marketing, through social media. For social media, connecting with people, networking with other people, going out and finding your audience. A great way to do this too, and I'm going to be sharing more about this in the coming, actually next week in a newsletter, is identifying your ideal clients and actually go to them, 3 to 5 of them, and ask them questions. Say, I'm not trying to pitch you, I'm not trying to sell you, but you are in my ideal audience and I want to get to know you so that I make sure that I'm offering the right kinds of services. So would you be willing to answer a few questions for me? And within those questions, you might ask, where do you spend your time? What social media accounts do you hang out on the most often? Where do you spend your time on the weekends, like places, and not just social media? You just get to know them so that you know where to market. Are your followers on Instagram? If not, if they don't hang out there, then you probably shouldn't spend your time there reaching out to them and trying to appeal to new clients on Instagram. So I would reach out to a few people in your ideal client base and just explain that you're trying to build your packages, that you just started your business, and then ask them questions. Instead of trying to guess. It takes the guesswork out of getting to know your ideal clients and actually gives you concrete answers. So I hope that's helpful for you, Debbie. There's a Deb and there's a Debbie. Awesome. Okay. Melinda said, what is the best method to reach out to potential clients without seeming too salesy or pushy? Again, I'm going to go back to content marketing and blogging. When you're sharing information with people and you are bringing value to them and you're benefiting them, you're going to build trust with them and it's not going to seem too salesy or pushy. I hate selling with passion. I love creating. I love having these e-courses. Of course, I want people to take part in them and benefit from them. I hate selling. For some reason, I just feel like it's really easy to come off sleazy. And that's why I love blogging and doing content marketing and writing newsletters and just providing value for people, because when you build that trust with them, you don't come off sleazy or salesy. So the best method to reach out to them without seeming that way is to provide them value. For me, that's through my blog posts, just sharing openly and being transparent. And so that keeps people coming back and I'm not forcing anything down their throats. So I hope that's helpful for you, Melinda. But definitely content marketing, which means blogging about your trade, sharing your expertise, providing value to your audience so that they will start coming back again and again. Rachel says, how to convert someone who showed interest in your product, visited your shop, but didn't buy anything. Again, I know I'm going to sound like a broken record. Building trust. So this is where a mailing list can come in really handy. Someone lands on your website through a share on social media or a recommendation from a friend, and they look through your shop. And if you don't have an opt-in or a pop-up that comes up on your screen or any incentive for them to join your list, they're going to leave and they might never come back. But if you do have a content upgrade, or also called a lead magnet, or if you have some way to capture their email address, you can continue to build trust with them, get your product in front of them more and more through your mailing list and through content marketing on your mailing list. So I would definitely recommend, if you aren't already, having some sort of opt-in on your shop to ask them, are you interested in receiving XYZ? Come up with some content upgrade that's valuable to them, that would be helpful for them, related to your product. You don't want it to be some off-the-wall thing that doesn't relate. But try to get their email address so that you can continue to reach them through emails in their inbox and continue to present your product to them. Great question. All right. Met asks, I'm starting a new business within marketing consulting. I'm not on any social media platforms yet. I know. How do you suggest for me to start attracting clients? I'm starting a blog and a website soon. So like I just said, you don't have to have a huge following to be able to follow any of those 6 effective strategies. You already have some sort of following because you have friends and family who might be following you on personal accounts. So definitely share about your new marketing consulting business. LinkedIn, I feel like, could be huge for you, and Facebook groups as well. So definitely consider all of those, Met. But great question. All right, Rachel asks, my services page has loads of views every month, but no one contacted me. I've changed my packages and prices a few times, added FAQ, and even wrote a blog post series about my design process. Is there any way I can know why people leave my service page without booking me? Should I change something? By the way, my packages are similar price-wise and include similar components as other brand designers with the same target audience. This is a tough one. And I know that can be frustrating, and it's good that you're looking at your analytics to see that people are stopping by. I think the best thing to do would be to reach out and ask them. And I cover all of these questions that you all are asking. I spend a lot of time covering in the course, and this is one of them as well. Making sure that you're pricing yourself accordingly, that your packages make sense for your audience. It might be similar to what other brand designers are offering, and it may seem like they have the same target audience, but you really need to spend some time figuring out your target audience even better. So like I just told, I forget who, I think it was Debbie. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying. I would recommend finding 3 to 5 people in your ideal audience and reaching out to them and asking them questions. Ask them to look at your service packages and be really honest about why they might not be interested in buying. Is it the price? Am I offering too much? Am I offering not enough? Ask them. Get the answer straight from the horse's mouth instead of guessing around. And don't change it up too often. You may have done one blog series on your process, but it's going to take a while for people to come. And your service packages shouldn't appeal to everyone. So even if you're getting a ton of hits, don't lose hope. Because for me, I receive a lot of hits on my services page too, but I don't want it to appeal to everyone. Not everyone can necessarily afford the price point that I'm at, or they may not like my style, or they may not need a full brand, collateral items, and a website, and that's okay. But for some people, when they land on it, that might be exactly what they need, and they contact me. And that's who I want. So also don't lose hope in it, and don't change things up too often. Give it some time. Continue to blog not only about your process, but about your expertise, and blog your work. Could be a few different things there. And Rachel, send me an email. I'm happy to look at it for you too. So yes, I hope that's helpful. All right. I was looking in the comment section. Awesome, Hannah. I'm so glad that you pre-ordered. Christopher asked, Chapter 6 of the course with legal part, is it focused on the U.S. or is it universal? Some of it will depend on country, and there's just no getting around that. But we tried to make it as applicable to, because we have an international audience, so we try to make it as applicable as possible, especially things like contracts and privacy policies. Those are going to be the same no matter what country you're in, and especially if you're working internationally. The biggest thing would be whether you're an LLC or a sole proprietorship or whatever that looks like for the country you're in, but that's the biggest thing. So that shouldn't be a huge issue, Christopher. I also offer 30-day money-back guarantee. So for any reason you're unhappy with the course, you get a complete refund. But I really think that's how confident I am that I know it will be helpful for you. And Winter asks if I'm going to be offering this course another time this year. I'm only offering this course one time a year, so I'm not going to offer it again until the end of next summer. Same thing with my Adobe Illustrator class. I'm launching it again this winter. It's just going to be once a year. Also, because I do a lot of live elements to it, I don't just record it all and push it out to you. I want it to be interactive. I want to hold you accountable. So it also has a course community that I'll be active in too. Awesome. And Clarice says, what do you think about having a small exit questionnaire of sorts to get client feedback once the project is done? I love that idea, and I'm so glad that you brought it up, Clarice. I think that's excellent. Actually, in my throughout the client process, I actually ask them, how could I be improving? How could we make this better if I feel like there's like an issue in communication? Actually, my most recent client, and I finished up her project at the end of last week. She told me it might be more helpful to have more Skype calls instead of so many emails back and forth throughout the process. And that was so helpful to know, so that for future clients, the process could run even more smoothly. So usually once I hand off a project, I have a final Skype call with them. And I feel like that's a little easier than just sending a questionnaire and asking them to fill it out, although it might kind of put them on the spot. I guess it just depends. But for me, just asking, what was your favorite part of this process? How could I have made it better for you? And I think that they appreciate that. And you might ask that through every step without bugging them too much, but just ask them during it, so maybe you can improve the process while they're in it. But yeah, I think it never hurts to do an exit questionnaire. And that's a really great way through your exit questionnaire to get testimonials, because I'm not very good at following up with people and asking them for testimonials. If you have an exit questionnaire, you can ask them for a testimonial right inside of it, and you're good to go. Later, if you're trying to promote your services, you don't have to go to every client and ask for a testimonial. It's good to know that it was helpful for you too, Yuritsa, on testimonials and using their words. That's great. Awesome. Okay, I still have time for a few more. Hope that these have been helpful for you guys. Rachel asks, how do you tell if you have an audience? Is there any specific number of page views, followers, subscribers, clients to assess the size of an audience? And how do you define small audience? This is a really great question, a really hard question, because it is so it's so subjective. Someone might think that 15,000 would be a small audience, and someone might think that would be a huge audience. It depends. Small audience might be 100 people following along, or a couple hundred. I know for Brian Harris, who's actually, I've worked with him for the coaching program, his coaching program. And his goal for people when they're starting to build their list is 1,000 subscribers. That's a good benchmark to reach. I think it also depends on if you're a product-based business, if you're a service-based business, how many clients you're trying to attract. For me, I only take on about 5 to 10 new clients a year. Last year was 24. So a smaller audience might work well if it's made up of my ideal clients. But if I have products, I definitely want a larger audience than that. So So because the more products you sell, the more income you make. So that makes sense too. I think it just depends, but I definitely recommend setting goals for yourself and setting benchmarks and keeping up with your progress. It's really encouraging. It may seem like you're growing slowly, but then as you look back over time, you realize that you are making headway. My assistant, Jenny, loves analytics. Confession, I don't really love analytics and I kind of avoid them. But every month she'll go back through and tally up social media following and engagement and our blog stats and analytics. And it's really fun to see. It might not seem like much from day to day or much growth, but over the months, it's really encouraging. And we've set benchmarks too. By the end of 2016, we want to get to this benchmark, just to have goals to work toward, because it's easy to lose track of time and to not challenge yourself or push yourself or get stuck in a rut. So it's really good to go back and evaluate. But I hope that's helpful for you, Rachel. You've had some really great questions today. All right. Can I quickly share the 6 modules again? Yes, I will at the very end, Courtney. Awesome. Rachel asks, how did you land your first client for Ellen Company and when? Do you mind sharing your rates and page views back then? Oh man, this is kind of embarrassing, guys. So my first client, my first real like full out client, brand website design, was a photographer, and it was actually our wedding photographer, her intern. So she knew that I had started taking on clients. She knew about my freelance business, and because her intern was just starting out, she recommended her to me. I charged her $100, which is really embarrassing. Do not do that. I recommend sitting down and figuring out how much time a project's going to take you. Overestimate. I talk about this in the course. I have a whole system for pricing your services. $100 is absolutely crazy. I think I spent way over 50 hours on that project, so I was making $2 an hour max, and then with taxes taken out, that brought it down to about $1.20 an hour, which is craziness. I had really no page views because I wasn't really blogging back then. It was just through word of mouth, and I knew I wanted to take my business full time, and I was so desperate for clients. So that was my first one. Got to start somewhere. Everything's a learning experience. That was probably about 3 years ago. 3 years ago. Yeah, crazy, embarrassing. Suzanne, I see your question too, really quickly. Do you recommend working for free to attract the first clients? No. And this might surprise you. My dad, I've shared this story a few times, but for those of you who don't know, my dad owned a business when I was growing up, and he actually owned a gym in our small town, family-owned gym. And his business was very different from mine, but a couple years ago, I went back to him and just asked, what are your biggest business tips? And the one that has always stuck with me is make it worth your while. What I've found for people who want you to work for them for free is that they don't appreciate your work. And they take you for granted, and they run you ragged, and they run the show, and you end up working way more hours. And I just think that can get really tricky. If it's an exchange of some sorts, I know for a photographer friend of mine, she did headshots for me and some other work, and I did an exchange for my services. So really, she was paying me with her services, and we did an exchange that way. And if you do that, I recommend having a contract set up. But I think any person who has tried to get a deal from me, who has tried to jump the line, and even if I've had some bigger people with pretty large followings reach out to me and say, I know you're booked for the rest of the year, but will you work with me? And every time I've made an exception, I've regretted it. Every single time. I can't think of one time when I haven't. They usually think they're doing me a favor, and that's really hard. They end up wanting a million revisions and everything else. So I think even you need to charge effectively. If you're going to lose that client, it might be worth it in the long run for you. But don't devalue your services. You are doing them a service. So I hope that's helpful. You're welcome, Suzanne. And Danielle, I'll just answer this really quickly. How would a contract be set up in a trade, Hannah? Written email agreement work? Yes, at the very least, just written up to show your responsibilities, their responsibilities, and then you co-sign. So at the very least. I know my lawyer, and this wasn't until a year ago that I actually bit the bullet and spent money on a lawyer, wrote up a contract that could be used in a bunch of different scenarios with just a statement of work that changed. So that might be, send me an email if you want more guidance on that. I'm happy to help you. But yes, at the very least, a written agreement and both of you sign it, outlining your expectations for both of you and make sure you adhere to it. Danielle, do you recommend listing all packages and pricing on the site to show all options for services, or to just have one call to action? For me, I don't want to waste somebody else's time and my time responding to an inquiry that is going to be too expensive. My packages are going to end up being too expensive or whatever else. I list all the information up front along with my pricing so that I know every person who inquires knows that they want to work with me. I don't have to do any convincing on my part. So I think transparency is key, and I think it's huge for building trust with people. They know exactly what they're going to get. If it's out of their price range, they don't waste the time reaching out to me. It saves both of us time. I know that's not the case for everyone, but I found it extremely helpful because I know everyone who reaches out to me is very interested, and I don't have to sell because, like I said, I don't like to sell. Great questions, guys. Sorry that I didn't get to answer all of them. But as always, I can do another Ellechat, and I cover all of these questions that you asked me in detail in the course and so much more. So stay tuned about that. I know, Courtney, you asked one more time for a look at all of the modules, so I'm going to screen share one more time, and you'll see more details about this in the coming weeks as well. But just an inside look at the page. Module 1 is specializing, 2, finding the right clients, 3, creating your services, 4, project management, 5, client communication, 6, legal and finance. I wanted to make sure in creating these modules that no stone was left unturned. I wanted to make sure that it covered everything that you need to know to create not just a profitable business, but a sustainable business, one that will last for years and years, and help you freelance on your own terms. Whether your goal is to quit your day job and work for yourself full time, maybe you want the flexibility to be able to stay home with your kids and also run a business. I believe that you can, if I can do it, you can do it. Create a business on your own terms that's successful and sustainable and profitable. And so I am sharing absolutely everything I know about building a successful freelance business, and I'm not holding anything back because I want more than anything for you to be able to see success in your business like I have for mine. I really know the passion that you have for your trade. Whether it's design, photography, calligraphy, interior design, whatever it might be. I remember wanting nothing more than just to design all day on my own terms and work with the clients I wanted to work with. And so I made it happen. And I'm sharing my blueprint with you guys. So again, once as soon as I get off of here, I'm going to share those links with you guys again. The link to 25%, I'll just go ahead and send them right now with you guys on, so I make sure that you get them all right. This one is for the full payment with 25% off. And I'm going to write that in here. I know some of you have to go, so you're totally fine. This one should work. Let me know if it doesn't. And then this one's payment plan. Let me hunt it down for you. Let me know if for some reason it doesn't work in here, you guys. And I know there's a 30-second lag. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today and for tuning in a lot of these Thursdays. For those of you that this was your first time tuning in to an Ellechat, I'm really glad that you're here. I'm taking next week off from Ellechat since with the launch coming up. And the following week, I'll be doing a webinar on Tuesday, Wednesday. It's not going to be on Thursday, so I'll keep you posted about that. And then we'll get back into the regular Ellechat routine in September. And I have some really awesome guests coming up and some really awesome topics, and I'm excited to share with you. Really great guests. Let me know if those links work before I jump off. I want to make sure that they work out okay with you. And if you have any questions at all, send me an email, hello@ellencompanyddesign.com. Just drop that in there for you guys too. Send me an email, let me know, ask me, I'm happy to help. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I hope that you have success gaining clients. It works out. I love hearing from you. Awesome. Courtney says it works. All right. Great, guys. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your week. Best wishes with clients, and I hope to see you in another Ellechat soon. Bye, guys.